Welcome back. My name is Devin Cook, and you've probably seen some headlines talking about the real estate market, and you may be wondering if the real estate market is going to crash. I don't believe that the real estate market is going to crash, and if you do want some more information about that, check out my most recent video on the topic. But I do believe that we're in a shifting market right now, meaning that the market is currently changing. And in a shifting market as a real estate agent, you have to start deploying some different tactics in order to get homes sold. And that's what I'm talking about today. I'm going to talk about how to sell houses even during a shifting real estate market. Now, there's three main points to talk about, but that third point does have a couple sub points. So the first thing that you need to do in order to continue selling real estate at a high level during a shifting market is know the data. As a real estate professional, your job is to provide value to your client. And that means that when the market is changing, you have to be on your A game and you have to know exactly what's happening in your local market. That means that you need to know what the inventory is, you need to know the level of supply in certain key areas that you're working in, you need to know how many homes are selling above list price, are homes now selling under list price, are homes still getting multiple offers, and what kind of an offer can you expect to win a home in this market. You really got to become a data freak, and you need to know as much as you can. You need to know all of the numbers so that way you can properly guide and help your clients make an offer on the homes that they're buying in order to get the best home for them. And if you're working with sellers, that's going to be exceptionally important as well, because the last thing that you want to do is overprice a home because you're pricing a home based off of last month's data, and then that home sits on the market, your clients aren't happy, they don't get to their new home or their new job or wherever they're going on time, and then you look like you don't know what you're doing. And so I would say even more importantly with sellers, you really have to know the numbers for the specific neighborhoods that you're working in and the city as a whole where you're listing the home. And this doesn't just include local data, you also need to know a bit more macroeconomics about what's happening in the market and what's causing this shift. Know what's going on with the mortgage rates, know what's going on with the Fed rate and what the Federal Reserve is doing to try and curb inflation and how that's impacting their ability to sell their home. And be aware of what's happening in other markets as well, especially adjacent markets. If you're selling real estate in Arkansas, it may be a good idea for you to know also, generally speaking, how the Oklahoma real estate market is doing, or the Texas real estate market, or any other adjacent states. You should know, roughly speaking, how those markets are doing, because that's in a way going to impact your current market as well. Now, step number 2, in order to continue selling at a high level, you have to be extremely proactive. Now, if you're used to working with buyers over the last couple of years, you're probably thinking,
Devin, I've had to be extremely proactive in order to get my clients a home.
And that's definitely true. A lot of the legwork these days have been done by the buyer's agents and buyers trying to win homes in the multiple offer situations that we've been in. And so I definitely applaud you for that. I know it can be really tough to drive around to see so many houses, put in so many offers, and still have your client lose on a house. But on the contrary, the listing side of real estate has been a bit more simple, because in some cases, sellers have essentially been able to just list their home, pick a price that may be right, but it may not be right. You haven't had to do a ton of work, and you can still expect to get multiple offers. That's the market that we've been in, and if you were one of those agents that wasn't really doing the research on your listings and just picking a price kind of out of a hat, I don't think that was the right strategy, and I still think you should be doing all the legwork and as much research as possible so that way you do price your listings appropriately. But now, especially with a shifting market, that listing side is going to be really crucial, because you may be playing with a different market where homes aren't selling in 3 days, just over a weekend with 12 different offers. You may be in a market where things are a bit more chill, buyers are taking their time, and sellers are probably still as anxious and are wondering what's happening. And so you as an agent are going to need to be extremely proactive with holding open houses, knocking the neighborhoods to find some buyers, calling other real estate agents to see if they have a buyer for your listing, and you're gonna have to put in a lot more work potentially to get your listing sold than you may have done in months prior. And if you're not being proactive with your listings, your sellers are gonna be wondering what you're doing, because if their home isn't selling and it doesn't look like you're doing much, they may just fire you. And that's the last thing you want as a listing agent, because that's gonna hurt your reputation and it may hurt your confidence going forward into that next listing appointment. Now, the third thing that you have to do, and this is going to be critical in order to stay on top of your game and sell real estate at a high level, is get back to basics. Now, I really mean one main thing when I say get back to basics. And the thing that I'm going to say is probably gonna make a lot of realtors cringe. Lead lead generation. I know lead generation is probably not the number one thing you want to be told to do, but if you want a thriving business, lead generation is essential. And on top of lead generation, another thing that you're probably not going to want to hear is you need to be script practicing. In order to be a top producer, you need to build your skills, and one of the best ways to do that is script practicing. Because by script practicing, you get to practice on other agents. And if you're not script practicing, that means you're practicing on potential clients. And would you rather practice on the people that could be making you money or on other agents? I know I would rather practice with other agents. That way I'm on my A game and I can provide the best value and get results for the clients that I'm speaking with on the phone or in person. Now, under that lead generation bucket, there's a couple of things I want to talk about that you should be doing on a daily basis. Not to say that you need to be doing every single one of these on a daily basis, but you should be lead generating on a daily basis. I would recommend a 2-hour minimum window per day, especially in the morning time, and then pick one of these things I'm going to mention and focus on that. One of the biggest things you can do to lead generate, and it may seem less intimidating depending on your personality type, is work your SOI. The people you know, your friends, your family, they all know somebody who's trying to get into real estate, either as an agent, trying to buy a home or sell a home, or transact in real estate in some way. And you as a real estate agent should know about that. And the best way to do that is work with your SOI. Send them cards, send them little gifts, stop by and say hello, take them out to dinner or to lunch, reach out to your past clients who have closed on homes and check in to see how they're doing. I won't be getting into all the tactics of working your SOI, that's for another video, but just know that's a great way to lead generate, and it can provide a ton of resources and a ton of clients for your future business. And if you're just thinking that SOI is really not for you, well, you can always go the route of calling expireds, calling FSBOs, or calling cancels. And this especially is where script practicing comes in, because calling expireds and FSBOs and cancels is going to take a lot of time and a lot of skill in order to properly convert those and sell their homes. And so if this is the route that you're going to take, script practice every single day and make the calls every single day. The idea is not to just sit down for 2 hours one day in the month where you decide you're going to lead generate and then get like 3 listings from that time period. That's probably not going to happen, but it could. Who knows? The idea with lead generating is that consistency is king. As long as you get at it 2 hours a day, say you're calling expireds, 2 hours a day of calling expireds, if you do it diligently and you do it intentionally and you've practiced your scripts and are building your skill ahead of time, you will see results. So if you're not a big fan of working your SOI and you would rather just burn down the phone and call a bunch of people, expireds, cancels, FSBOs, all great options. Now this next option could become a big money generating activity depending on where the market goes in the coming months and years. And that's working foreclosures or short sales. If you were in real estate during the 2008-2009 era, working foreclosures and short sales could have been your bread and butter. And some agents worked short sales exclusively and made a ton of money doing so. Working short sales, just like anything, is going to require a bit of a specific skill set. You're going to need to know the ins and outs of what's happening and what to do in order to get those homes sold. But if you're committed to learning that skill, it can provide a great avenue of business for you, and you can get a lot of transactions done by going the short sale route. And if we were to enter a full-on real estate meltdown, which I don't think we are, but if we were, you're gonna see a lot more short sales coming up on the market, and that could provide a great avenue of income. And there's a lot of other lead generating opportunities that you can do as well, like holding open houses, door knocking, farming a specific neighborhood, circle prospecting. There's so many different things that you can do, but the basic idea is that you need to be lead generating every single day, 2 hours minimum, so that way you can build your business for the long term and that you're not gonna suffer if the real estate market does take a significant downturn. And even with this shifting market that we're in, staying on top of your game is just gonna have you prepared well in advance of anything else that develops in the real estate market. As always, thanks for watching, and if you are interested in getting your real estate license, comment down below, let me know what questions you have, and check out the link down below to get your Texas real estate license.